Hi, my name is Drew Peterson and I work for Christian Horizons. Today I want to talk about the core competencies, and I want to talk about this video series that we're going to be doing over the next little while. Whether you're watching this online or you're watching it at a team meeting, you may have heard about the core competencies, you may have heard your manager talk about it, you might know a little bit about what it is, maybe you have some friends that work at another agency that use the core competencies, and so you have this sort of brief idea about what they are, but we haven't really gone in depth. And you don't know specifically what it's all about. And that's what this video series is here for. It's to help you understand what the core competencies are, how they apply to your job, what they're going to mean for you, and just help you get a full understanding about this project and the upcoming changes that are going to happen. So you may be thinking to yourself, Drew, you've already lost me. You know, you've said the core competencies a number of times and I still have no idea what they are or what they're all about. Well, let me paint a small picture for you to help you better understand what a core competency is and what it looks like to display one. I used to be a direct support professional and I was a night awake staff, and there was always these staff that I looked to as examples as top performers, people who were so awesome at their job, and I looked at them as ways for me to become a better direct support professional. There was something about the way they did their work. There was a certain passion that went into their work. There were just certain ways that they did their job that made them such strong staff, such top performers. It's been difficult in the past for us to really pinpoint and describe what are those things that you're doing that make you so great. What is it that you're doing every day when you walk through that door that makes you a top performer? And that's what the core competencies are, and that's what it's all about. It's those things that we're gonna focus on in this video series, those behaviors that drive superior performance. And that's all a competency really is. A competency is any skill, knowledge, or behavior that drives superior performance. And the core competencies differ from our traditional idea of what a competency may be. For me, when I first heard the word competency, I thought about the kind of training that I take at Christian Horizons. You know, being able to pour medication correctly and knowing how to send effective emails so that there's no communication barriers, and understanding how to document things properly. I thought of those kind of things, those skills that I was building, as competencies, and they are competencies, but we want to make a clear distinction between core competencies and technical competencies. So the technical competencies are skills that you have. They're things that we can see, things that are noticeable. If you're a good driver, that would be a technical competency. If you're really strong with computers, that's a technical competency. If you've taken a DSW program, the things that you learn there were technical. If you've taken classes at Christian Horizons or training or at your agency, a lot of the things that you learn, like documentation and those sort of things, those are skills that you've learned that when you're performing them, we can see what you're doing and we can measure them. Those things are more technical competencies. When we're talking about the core competencies, we're talking about behaviors, those underlying things that you cannot see that are driving that performance. Think of it this way: if you had an iceberg, there's two parts to an iceberg. I mean, an iceberg is this massive thing, but you might only see this little bit, the part that comes out of the water. That little part that comes out of the water, those would be the technical competencies, the things that we can see, right? But that huge part of the iceberg that's underneath the water, the foundation, the mass, is huge. That's the behavioral competencies, the core, the foundation. Those competencies are what we want to focus on because they provide the foundation for those technical competencies. Those core competencies drive the performance. So we want to understand them, we want to be able to identify them, we want to know them in and out. That way we can do our jobs better. So specifically, in regards to the developmental services sector, there are 15 core competencies that drive superior performance. In this video series, we're going to focus on the 7 core competencies that apply to direct support professionals. So let me explain a little bit more. Every role has a different set of competencies for them. Each job has different responsibilities, different tasks that are important, and so therefore it's got different behaviors that are important in order to do that job successfully. And what I have here is called the Core Competencies Dictionary. And I'm going to give you a link to download this, and I suggest that you take a look through it. You probably have one at your program location already. The Core Competencies Dictionary not only gives the list of all the competencies along with the definitions so that you can better understand them, but in there's also this little chart that describes all the, explains the roles and the different competencies that apply to that role. So here, for example, we have the direct support professional line, and it has the competencies and there's a little number next to the competency. If that competency has a number next to it, that means that's one of the core competencies that applies to your job as a direct support professional. Those competencies are advocating for others, collaboration, creative problem solving and decision making, fostering independence in others, initiative, interpersonal relations and respect, and resilience. Every video in this series is going to focus in on one core competencies and help you better understand what they are, what their definition is, what it looks like to display that core competency at different levels. And by the end of this video series, you're going to have a good understanding about each core competency and how they apply to your role and how you can develop them further. If you're a program manager and you're watching this video, you're going to have a different set of core competencies. Some of them are the same as direct support professional, but just as the job is slightly different, the core competencies that are necessary to be really successful in that job are also different. Let's dive into this core competencies dictionary a little bit more, because this thing is going to provide you with a really good understanding of what the core competencies are. That first page was a chart. It lists all the core competencies, it lists the various roles within the developmental services sector and the competencies that apply to that role. But if we go further into the dictionary, each page of the dictionary is devoted to a competency, and it gives you the definition of that competency, it gives you the title of the competency, and you're going to notice that there's these different levels. Every competency has more than one level. Most of them have 4, some of them have 5. Level 1 being displaying that competency to a small degree, level 5 or level 4 displaying that competency to a much greater degree. Now, every competency has a target level, and that target level is where we want to perform at. As direct support professionals, it's where we want to strive to be in regards to that competency. It's what it looks like to display that competency in a way that's going to benefit you and the individuals that you support. In the same way that every competency isn't the same for every role and for every job, the target levels for each competency are also different. So if we take one of the competencies, for example, creative problem solving and decision making, the target level for direct support professionals is level 3, where the target level for a program manager or supervisor is going to be a level 4. And that's one of the things that I've loved about this core competency model. As I've learned about it over the past couple of months, there's been so many things that have stuck out to me that have made it something I'm excited about. Not only does it provide that sort of recognition for the hard work that you do every day, it increases the professionalism of the work that you do. It provides you with a tool to succeed in the future. If you want to go to that next step, it gives you that list of skills that you need to be developing in order to get there, in order to be successful in that role when you get there. So one thing that's really important to understand about the core competencies, this isn't about good and bad. It's not about not doing things good and doing things bad. This is about good and great, or good performance and superior performance. Where this core competencies dictionary isn't saying that if you only display a certain competency at a level 1, it's not saying that you're a bad staff. It's saying that we want to move towards the target level so that we can be superior performers, that we can go above and beyond just what's necessary to provide decent service, but we can do what's necessary to provide superior performance and be excellent at our jobs. The core competencies help us become those people. I don't want you to think that this is about good staff and bad staff, or doing things right and doing things wrong. This is about doing things well, or doing things as a top performer, as a superior performer. So a good next step for you is to download this dictionary. Get into it. Just take a look at it. Take a look at that chart that I just showed you. It's going to help you better understand not only what the core competency project is, but it's going to help you get a good look at each individual competency. And that's what we're going to be focusing on in the next set of videos. You can download this dictionary on CH Connect. If you go to CH Connect, our internal staff pages, go to the core competencies section of that website. There's a link on there where you can download this. It's a great way for you to learn about the core competencies. It's going to help you understand it. It's going to help you develop them in your job. We're not ending here. Over the next little while, we're going to walk through each competency step by step, help you understand what they are, help you understand what the definitions are, help you understand what each level is, what it means to display that level, help you understand what the target level is for each competency. And every video is going to focus in on one specific competency, so that by the end of this whole video series, you'll have a firm understanding of what the core competencies are that apply to your role if you're a direct support professional, And by the end of it, you're gonna have all those questions that maybe are swirling around in your head, they're gonna be answered, and you're gonna know what the core competencies are that apply for you. You're gonna know what it means to display that competency, and you're gonna be given the tools to be able to develop yourself to provide that superior quality of service. So let's look at the big picture. Over the next few months, we're gonna watch a number of videos, and they're gonna focus on each competency. But why do that? Why even spend the time and energy to learn the core competencies and figure this whole thing out? Well, it's about providing superior quality service. It's not just about becoming the best professional you can be. It's about enhancing the lives of people we support. The core competencies are going to help you do that. They're going to help you become a better direct support professional, a better manager, a better director, but not just so that we can be better as professionals, but so that we can affect others, we can make their lives better. It's what it's all about, and these core competencies are going to help you do that. So I hope over the next few months as you watch the videos, you can be thinking of ways that you can be applying these behaviors, applying these core competencies to your jobs so that we can make other people's lives better.